Okay, right, I'm going to show you how to fit a kitchen unit. The reason being, because the last video I had that explained how to fit a kitchen wall unit was quite loud in terms of the music over it. So I've changed things around a little bit and we won't put so much music on this one. So nice and simple. Once we've obviously got our base units fitted in the kitchen, it gives us a bit of a gauge of where we're going to do things. Obviously as well, you'd be checking on drawings as well to give you a location of where the wall unit goes. But just as a rule of thumb as well, if we've got a wall unit going around this area, you're always going to want to be keeping it in line, unless you've got a window, for example, or whatever, but you want to keep it in line with the base unit, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just level up from the base unit, so it's nice and plumb to give me a starting point. I've just got a line there, okay, to go to. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start thinking about the distance between my worktop and the underside of my unit. Okay, so on the drawing it's specified a distance of 450 millimeters, and I know that the worktop what we're using here is 28 mil. It's a smaller worktop. Right, so what I need to do is I need to do a quick measurement of my unit, but I need to allow for the thickness of the worktop. Okay, so worktop again we're using is 28 mil. Usually the worktops that you'd be getting in industry around about 38 mil. So we use a smaller type, a little bit cheaper, a little bit easier for guys to cut as they're training. So I'm going to allow for that. So I'm going to go from the base unit up my line, and I'm going to go 450. You can do it in your head, but it might be just easier to mark it on the wall. So I want a gap of 450. Pencil. 450, and then you can have the 28 mil on, or unless you're a massman, you can just do it all in one. But just to show you that we're allowing for the thickness of the worktop on top of that. Okay. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start looking at the actual unit itself. So this is our slightly used wall unit that I'm going to be using. But what we need to do is we need to look at the back side of the unit. Okay, I'm going to lay this down so you can see it a little bit easier. You see on the back of the unit we've got some clips here, okay? And these clips are basically allowing for the unit to hang on the wall, okay? And it's basically used with these plates here, okay? So these plates are going to get fixed to the wall, okay? And then it's going to be hooked in a fashion like this, so it gets fixed, if you want to zoom in there, like that onto the wall, and then the hook in the system here should hook over like so, okay, and then that allows it to obviously keep the unit upright. Okay, there is a bit of adjustment we can do in that as we're sort of playing around with it. I'll show you that in a second. So the first thing I want to do is note the measurement from the underside of the unit, okay, to the position of the hook. So I've got 690 mil. So what I do then is I go from my bottom of my unit point up 690, and then that's the position, the height that I want to fix my plate at then. Relatively quite straightforward. Double check, 690 I said, didn't I? Mm-hmm. So there's my unit height. 690 is there. So I'm going to level that across. And then all I need to do then is note the width of the unit, okay? Because we want the unit to start at this point but I'm not fixing a clip at that point because you need to watch out for this thickness here. Okay, so this thickness here on the unit can foul the clip. So what we have to do is we have to allow for it a little bit. You want the clip to be about 3mm in from that the side of the unit, because if, for example, we're like that, the unit's not going to go back against the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to measure in 22mm, and then the first clip I'm going to come in on the line is going to be 22mm. Put a little X there so I know where it's going. So the clip wants to be lined up with the top of the bender, because it's going to be hooked over, wants to be lined up with our pencil line. So just at that point there. Like so, and then what I want to do is I want to measure across and see the distance to the other side. So from where I am, the other side is 460. So if I can come across here to 460, okay, they're positioned correctly. Now if you've got wall units that are, say if you've got two wall units next to each other, you can get plates that will connect along the line. Okay, but you might have to position them slightly different. This one is a single one, so it's just going to go on by itself. Okay, so the next thing is we'll pop the unit up, trying to get it hook over. Okay, so we hook the unit over just like so, but what we need to do now is we need to make sure it's nice and level. Okay, before we can sort of fix it and bite it back. So in the top corners of the unit, here and here, we've got sort of the tightening mechanism to pull the unit back into the wall. But it does, before you do that, allow for a bit of adjustment. So you can actually make this side of the unit go up or down, and the same with this side, depending on which way it needs to go for level. Okay, so what I'm going to do is pop the level on the side, make sure it's plumb. A little bit unlucky because that's absolutely bang on level, that is. But what I'll do is I'll quickly show you. If you needed it to go up and down, what we can do is underneath here, we can wind that one up and wind it down, and that will lift that side of the unit up. Okay. By looking at it, it's absolutely decent there and spot on. So I'm happy with the position of it where it is. Okay. Mainly because of the fact that I've got a nice level line where I got my clips. You shouldn't usually have to do loads in terms of leveling it up. So it's nice and tight, it's nice and level. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to bite the unit back to the wall, either side, and then that becomes nice and sturdy then. Okay, it's fixed in position. The weight of the unit will keep it down into the wall. You can put extra fixings into it if you need to, but if you're going into a line of units, you just fix them into each other, either side, get them nice and flush. You want to make sure that any unit going against this, the two sides of the unit are absolutely nice and bang on, okay? While you're messing around with it and leveling it up, it's always a good idea as well to get like a G-clamp, little clamp on it, okay? Where you need it to be, and you can fiddle around with stuff while it's in the place where you need it to be then. Okay, little recap as well. So what we've done is we've gone off our base unit, we've identified the height, the difference between obviously the two heights. You want a nice working height, okay? You want it too low or too high. Too high and people can't get into the top of the unit. Too low and you can't make your sandwiches or whatever on the worktop. Okay, it's too crouchy. All right. So rule of thumb really is about 450 mil. Okay, you might be governed by a line of tiles that are on the sort of existing kitchen. It may be specified on the drawing. Okay. What I've also allowed for, because I haven't got the worktop on yet, is the thickness of the worktop. So our worktop that we're using in here today is 28 mil. So I've gone 400 plus 28. That's that line there. And then obviously we just transferred the marks up to where the hooks are. Thanks for watching.